My fellow Brits, I'm delighted to see the United Kingdom as a guest country in Spain. I suppose that's the way it's going to be after Brexit, so we're getting ready for that status everywhere we go as the years go by. The introductions have been fascinating. There is a wonderful quote from Mark Twain, the old American writer, who said that there are really only two important days in all of our lives: the day that we're born and the day we find out why. And I think that interesting video of young people sitting there not sure what they're about, what they're for, or who they're with, or why, is a captivating, exhilarating example that follows alongside some really interesting research done by Gallup a couple of years ago, asking the question in 145 countries of 145,000 people, 6 questions about why they exist. And here is the interesting truth. 82% of people in the world had no idea. Absolutely no idea. They had no sentence of purpose, they had no sense of purpose, and they had no reason to express what they were going to do between the day they began and the day they ended. In Europe, the figure is only slightly better. 22% of people think they have a purpose. The vast majority have no idea. And I believe that unless we get that grip of energizing purpose, all we will do is function, whether it happens to be in EY or out of it, in KPMG or beyond it, or whatever business we're connected with. We may just feel that somehow we're getting by until we get the paycheck at the end and we move on. Well, for me, the motivating drive has always been a clear desire to associate myself with the needs of the poor. I've decided to do that from the age of 16 to now when I'm 60, and I will do that until I'm 160. Well, you never know. Who says innovation may not take us somewhere beyond our living capabilities? I hope we will, but that is my driver, and I'm glad to say that KPMG has embraced that driver, and we've begun to move ourselves on a path that makes individual purpose into corporate purpose. And here we are on this day when I was noting in the news just the other day that the world's smallest mass market car manufacturer, Tesla, is now worth more than the world's largest, oldest mass market car manufacturer, Ford. How can that be? They don't produce as many cars, buses, products, trucks. No way. It's not about the metal or the manufacture. It's about two things. It's about innovation and responsibility. And you put the two things of innovation and responsibility together, you have potent brands that align themselves with the Sustainable Development Goals. For me, these are the signature statements that should define, that will define, and that I hope all of us will accept to be the consequential challenge of the next 13 years. Now, you all know that these were launched at the UN in 2015. When they were launched at the UN in 2015, it wasn't just the 198 governments of the world that agreed, it was all the corporations that say that they are part of the big picture of change in the world. It was the B Corp brands, it was the companies that care, it was the organizations that are listed up and down on this sheet on both sides. Everybody who says they're in the game for the long term, for the transformation of a better world, said these goals, these sustainable development goals, these are the definition of what sustainability means in the future. We've shifted from a definition that was environmental alone into a definition that includes these important considerations. And most central to me is the one captured right there under the words dignity. To end poverty, to fight for equality, to end inequality. A complicated world. We still have, as the facts point out, well over 836 million people in the world struggling to decide what they may eat today, or tomorrow, or the next day. We still find ourselves in a world where yesterday, despite Sustainable City Day here in Madrid, and I'm grateful for the thousands of people who joined it, but there were 22,500 children who died last night, and nobody put that on the headline. But they died last night because malaria-related diseases is one thing, but diarrhea-related diseases is quite another, and it's still the biggest killer on our planet, and it's taking children out day in, day out, simply because they don't have clean water. And if water and sustainability are not connected, and sustainable livelihoods are not connected, what on earth ever is? So the sustainable future that we talk about, that we all long for, that we desire, that purposeful, meaningful, valuable day, requires us to have a passion about dignity and justice and equality, and to fight to get these implemented by 2030 without dispute or continuing argument, but with passion.
We can be. We must be the first generation to end extreme poverty.
The generation
most determined
to fight injustice and inequalities.
The generation that saves the planet from climate change.
And this is how it will get done. The global goals.
A 15-year plan
For everyone, everywhere.
with no one left behind.
We live in a world where nobody
Anywhere lives in extreme poverty. Where no one
goes hungry.
Where no one wakes in the morning asking if there will be food today. When we live in a world where no child has died,
Diseases we know how to cure, and where proper health care
is a lifelong right for us all.
We will live in a world where everyone gets support, and education gives us the knowledge
And skills
for a fulfilling life. We will live in a world where all girls and all women have equal opportunities to thrive and be powerful and safe.
We cannot succeed
We believe in a world
where all people can get clean water
where proper toilets are home,
At school and work. We will live in a world where there is sustainable energy for everyone
heat, light,
and power for a whole planet.
without destroying the planet.
We will live in a world where economies prosper and new wealth
Lead to the essentials.
for everyone.
And we will live in a world where our industry,
Our infrastructure and our
best innovations,
Are not just used to make money, but to make our lives better.
we live in a world where prejudices and extremes of equality are prohibited.
Inside our countries and between free countries.
where people live in cities and communities
That are safe and progressive,
Support everyone to respect
where we replace
what we can see.
Planet where we put back what we take out of the earth.
We live in a world that is decisively rolling back from climate change.
where we restore and protect the life of our oceans and seas. Where we restore and protect
life on land.
Forests,
animals, the earth itself.
with peace between and inside countries. Where all governments are open
And answer to us for what they do at home and abroad.
and the justice rules.
With everyone equal before the law.
Where all countries will be their people.
Work together.
Partnerships of all kinds.
Bring these goals to reality. These are the United Nations global goals.
For sustainable development.
Let's get to work.
There you have it. Actors, celebrities, politicians, business leaders, activists, NGOs, all about one mission: the secure, sustainable future that is driven from individual purpose and corporate purpose. And here's a hint that is a very personal thing that I believe in very strongly. Corporations don't have purpose. Leaders within corporations set them on a purposeful track. The entity can't have purpose, but the people who lead it within it and work for it and make sure that their daily lives are about its value, they have purpose. If they don't, the entity simply switches from one brand to another. So we live in a complicated world, a world which requires a different response. You see the mess? That could be anywhere, couldn't it? Anywhere that has had a hurricane, or a cyclone, or a war, or a Syria, or a meltdown. Our world is still at a tipping point of insecurity. Things we thought had long gone away are still upon us. Fights we thought had happened in the past continue to happen in the present and define the future. And there are going to be places that don't exist in the course of the next 30 years. And all of those pressures bring about something else which requires a different response. This is a reality that in Europe nobody talked about 5 years ago. It wasn't part of any EU conversation. There was no strategy, no resource base, no thinking through, no plan. But then it hit us 3 years ago, and it keeps on hitting us every single day. People come not because they want to cross the seas and drown. They come because they're poor, because of war, because their lives don't work, because they don't have the water and sanitation, electricity and resource, because they don't have jobs and food and clarity and medicine. Because of all of those things, a refugee crisis has grown up in Europe, which of course is the responsibility of all of us to understand, but beyond just understanding, to factor how we respond. Here's the other side of the coin. Globalization. We live in a global world. Samsung, who created for themselves a burning platform, I'm sure you know what I mean, and great supporter of this conference. I noticed, by the way, that irrespective of what happened to Volkswagen and Samsung in 2016, both of them have enjoyed 44% and 48% profit increase in the last year. That's because of the response of both companies to the issues that affected them, and that's to the credit of responsible, sustainable leadership. But globalization means that things that were once part of over there are always part of over here. But here's the uncomfortable side. The uncomfortable side means that there are very few who benefit in the long term from the great gains, and so many who don't any longer get any access. So our world is a more unequal, uncertain place. See the brands, you saw the companies, you see those who've taken a stand, who've joined the fight, who've decided that these great ambitions, the end of extreme poverty, the provision of sanitation, secure jobs, decent justice, dignity and work, these things are not just pipe dreams. They are achievable human goals. They are meetable by the bending ambition of every one of us, by the movement of our organizations and corporations, by the determined will of those who feel a passion for purpose internally, who make it live externally. When we drive it with a relentless and significant commitment. President Obama, as in former President Obama, issued a statement on Friday. The statement was to introduce the world to the Obama Center in South Chicago. It's an interesting new building development. It will be the center, as he says, for citizenship to come together by example and by delivery. In his introductory statement, the former president, might stick in the claw of the current one, but the former president says that the most responsible and important position any person can ever have is to be a citizen. Not to be president, or prime minister, or in my case a lord, or a parliamentarian, or a chief executive, or the head of, or responsible for, or vice president of, but to be a citizen, to make the living opportunity of transformation our own. For every one of us to grab somebody else's pressure point and move it to change, just like these companies did. It's worth you getting the Fortune editions 2016 and 2015. This is the 2015, the first time Fortune magazine published Change the World, the index, they said, of the most impactful companies in the world. I'm proud to say, as a trustee as I am of the Vodafone Global Foundation, that we were #1. Vodafone was #1. And was #1 because as a company, alongside the UK's DFID, Department for International Development, invested some 10 years ago in the M-Pesa product, mobile money transfer systems, allowing the poorest people on the planet, mainly across East Africa and across India and across so much of the rest of the developing world, to be bankable individuals by simple phones, not smartphones. To be able to turn their lack of resource in their hand into an identifiable source of information and finance and access. Look at the other companies that are involved. It's a powerful statement. Unilever, nobody doubts the passion of their leader. Unilever is passionate by its history, passionate by its leadership, and passionate by its purpose. Every time you pick up a Unilever product, you've got to remember that these are the things you're actually buying into. You're not just purchasing something to wash with, or to wipe by, or to make sure that you can put it on your bread. You're purchasing a solution to 1 billion people's poverty. For Pearson's, the great educational organization, to be driving literacy around the world, why would they choose to do that? Well, more or less is the same number of people who are desperately poor at 836 million. There are 796 million people in our world who can't read and write. That means roughly 250 million children who will go up into the next level of schooling, unable to understand what is written on a whiteboard, a blackboard, or a book. And for Pearson's, a fight towards literacy. And then Amazon, who started the World Reader product, to take Kindles, which are purchasable by all of us for our own indulgence, can be used by anyone, particularly by children, to show them the simplest way to go from step letter 1 into reading confidently all the way through. Simple products at low cost to deliver literacy around the world. I show you this just because every year a group of people across KPMG in 52 countries work with Citibank, one of our largest clients, on a single day, but it takes 6 months to prepare for it, to work together consistently to do one thing on one day. Well, this last year, they've done it for 10 years consistently on the same day every year in November. They tackled every one of the 17 sustainable development goals. But they did that not just because they were KPMG, but because they were KPMG and Citibank together doing that. One of the things that we're most proud of is the work we did as an audit, tax and business services organization to tackle a village community on the edge of Tanzania, a tiny little community of the island of Pemba, a place most of you would never have heard of. It's just north of Zanzibar. You might have known of that. It's a famous holiday destination. People go there to lie on the beaches, but you go to the island just above it, called Pemba, and you still find Stone Age existence. Well, we were asked 7 years ago to take on a Stone Age community. 10,000 people with no sanitation, no electricity, no jobs, no education, no maternal care, no doctors, no pharmaceuticals, no work. And why would an audit business in 165 countries turning over 30 billion that works with corporations and governments do that? Why would we do that? Because nobody would ever know if we ever went there or didn't go there. But the choice to do that, to work for 7 years, to take 10,000 people from the Stone Age into modernity, to create a $4 million economy, to deliver 4,000 jobs in seaweed farming, led us to having a campaign on revitalizing villages. Because we saw that we could do it. And it wasn't just the money, it was the skills, it was the investment, it was the time, it was the passion of all the individuals who gave themselves, including KPMG in Spain, who gave resource and commitment to ensure we achieved our goal. So what is sustainability about? And what are sustainable brands for? I don't believe that they're for just increasing market value. That will happen as a result of innovation and responsibility. But if we take those two things seriously, we will achieve these goals. If we achieve these goals, we will have pride as the doorstep of our everyday. We will lift people beyond the 22% in Europe who say they have a purpose, to go towards the 38% in Latin America who say they have a purpose, to step beyond, I hope, the 50% whose days become bright because we know exactly why we went into work and why we joined that company and what that company does. It's not about charity. It is about comprehensive corporate engagement so that she has a smile on her face. She's worth it, and so are you. Thank you.